Forward Fabian Horror back with a video. We're doing a reaction to Scary and Creepy TikToks Part 10. Scary and Creepy TikToks that'll give you chills Part 10, yes. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me at Forward Fabian on Instagram. With that being said, I do have a TikTok playlist that I've curated on this channel, so I'll link to that so you can go binge watch all the other uploads. So let's just go ahead and hop.
Be careful what you put in your body. In 2014, a couple returned to their home to find it trashed in baffling ways. There was lotion all over the door handles, all of their shoes had had their soles ripped off of them, and someone had dumped an entire can of paint all over the toilet. Despite the obvious break-in, the police come and can't find any evidence of theft, so they leave thinking the couple's not in danger anymore. That night, the couple hears scratching underneath their bed and what sounds like a crying animal. Not wanting to find out what it was, they leave and call the cops, who come right back and start investigating the house, and they make a startling discovery in their bedroom. Wedged underneath the couple's bed was this 90-pound tiny little woman carrying a huge butcher's knife and a hypodermic needle. As they're taking this crazy lady away in handcuffs, one of the officers comes over to the couple and is like, so she was high on meth, and for at least 2 hours, she had been burrowing a hole in the underside of your mattress with that knife to get to you.
This is why you should always check on your kids. In 2017, a single mother of two was laying in bed early one morning. Like most mornings, she'd lay in bed while she'd listen to her 3-year-old and 5-year-old play games together downstairs. But this morning was different. She could not only hear her kids, but she could hear the voices of 2 men downstairs talking to them. She quickly gets up and runs downstairs, only to find her 2 daughters just happily playing. When she asks her daughters who were the men they were just talking to, they respond and say that's Danny and Matthew. Freaked out, the mum says to her 5-year-old, sweetie, who's Danny and Matthew? The little girl says, they live up in the roof, mum. They play with us every morning before you get out of bed. Freaked out, the mother grabs her 2 daughters and runs across the road to the neighbours. She calls the police.
See, that's why I pause. I mean, bro, if you hear voices and you come downstairs and nobody's there, I would assume it's something supernatural. You know, a lot of kids have imaginary friends, but if your kids are saying they live in the attic, in the rooftop, come on, man. I wouldn't check, but I'm just saying, at that point, you know, things are kind of not natural.
When the police finally arrive, they search the house and find 2 deformed men up in the roof.
Are you kidding me? Talk about speaking too soon. Whoa.
The police tell the woman that they both have the mental capacity of a 5-year-old, and by the looks of the setup up there, they'd been there for a while.
Are you kidding me, bro? I'm over here thinking it's some type of supernatural. Because my thing is, how do you run downstairs and they're able to get out of plain sight that quickly? They ran up to the attic, you know? You would think you would hear all the commotion. But dang. I was completely wrong.
Haunting photos taken seconds before the end. Part 1. The woman in this photo, Courtney Sanford, took this selfie and posted it to Facebook with the caption, "The happy song makes me so happy." A few seconds later, she collided with a recycling truck in a fiery blaze that claimed her life. This photo shows a man named John Jones who was exploring Utah County's Nutty Putty Cave. While he was exploring, he became stuck and was trapped upside down for 12 hours until he died due to cardiac arrest. This is the last picture ever taken by Filipino politician Ronaldo Dogsa, who accidentally captured the face of his assassin and moments later was shot and killed. Dang. This photo from a surveillance cam of his assassin.
See that, man? Sniper. Imagine, man.
And moments later was shot and killed. This photo from a surveillance cam shows 2-year-old James Bulger holding the hand of a 10-year-old boy at a shopping mall in England. The 10-year-old boy, along with one of his friends, abducted, tortured, and murdered James, making them the youngest killers in British history.
This is
that
why you
story.
should never talk to strangers in an elevator. One day, a surgeon was working the night shift at a hospital. He just finished his operation on a patient and was going to the basement. He entered the elevator and there was one other woman already inside. They were casually chatting when the elevator door opened and another woman was about to enter. But the surgeon looked horrified. He quickly slammed the close button and punched the highest floor of the building. Surprised, the woman asked why he was being so rude and wouldn't let the other woman in the elevator with them. The surgeon explained that in this hospital, all patients wear white wristbands with their names printed on them, but the red wristbands are placed on all of the corpses. The surgeon then looks to the woman in the elevator with him and says, "That was the same woman I just operated on. She died on the operating table. Didn't you see the red wristband she was wearing?" The woman in the elevator with him just smiled, raised her arm, and said, "You mean like this one?"
Oh, the hell!
This one might make you afraid to have a girlfriend. Haunted relationships. In 2012, a boy Nathan said his girlfriend died in a horrible car crash. They were dating for 5 years. He was struggling trying to get over it and was grieving for about 13 months when he got a Facebook message. It was from his dead girlfriend Emily. He thought it was her mom on her Facebook page, but it wasn't. A few more months, the conversations continued and she kept making references to the past relationship that they had that only they knew about. He started getting notifications of her on Facebook of her tagged in spaces that she should have been. He knew her Facebook passwords and changed them. And the messages and tags still kept coming.
That sound like that one movie. For some reason, I want to say it was called Unfriended, but that's not what it was. It's like that social media based horror film. If you know, you know. Comment down below. But there's like a weird girl in school, and a girl befriends her to kind of like end the relationship at a later point in time because that girl started getting too obsessive and clingy. But like, she kills herself and she lives through social media. It's weird, bruh. She's like popping up at random moments, and she's joining live streams or like group chats, typing things in the chat, sending messages, posting as other individuals on their personal pages to kind of get them canceled. Like, she starts saying outlandish type of things. It's kind of crazy.
She would write weird messages like she's cold, she's freezing, and that she didn't know what was going on. To this day, he doesn't know if it was some type of sick joke or really a message from the dead. Give this video a thumbs up if you want more true scary stories.
This is why you should always lock your crawl space. In 2019, a young woman had just moved into the second floor of an apartment building. She noticed a tiny crawl space that connected all the apartments on the floor, but she wrote it off, citing, "Who'd be small enough to crawl through that?" One night, she walks into her living room, and out on the fire escape is a tiny woman desperately trying to yank open her locked windows. Terrified, she hides behind some furniture until the woman eventually leaves, at which point she runs into a room, grabs her phone, and calls the police. While waiting for the cops to arrive, she hears something above her and she looks up. One of the ceiling tiles had popped up, and the woman from the fire escape is staring down at her. She used the crawl space to get up there. The girl screams and the woman scurries away. It took 3 days for the police to finally get the woman out of the crawl space.
3 days? Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Imagine if you looked up and your ceiling tile is moving and you see the face of the girl from... They showed a lot of creepy references right there. The Ring. I think the Evil Dead girl looks even creepier. But I'm out.
And bring her into custody. Turns out she was on some unknown, extremely hard drug and had totally lost her mind.
Salt.
This is the story of the doll maker. A young boy was killed by a car and his parents were devastated. His mom couldn't cope with his death and was on the brink of suicide. In desperation, the husband hired a doll maker to make a doll version of their son.
They completely stole the story from Annabelle. Like, Annabelle Creations. That's the story, word for word.
When the mother held the doll, she was convinced it was her real son. He gave the husband specific instructions to never go outside of the house with it, or else the illusion of their real son would turn back into a doll. Weeks passed and the mom spent all day and night with the doll, and the husband couldn't stand the sight of it anymore. He forced his wife and the doll outside so she could finally see the truth. But when they got outside, the husband was paralyzed. His wife was a doll too.
Want to break into cybersecurity?
Bruh's wife turned into a doll. That's what happens when you don't heed the instruction, my guy.
Here's why you should never go on the world's tallest water slide. In 2014, in Kansas City, the world's tallest water slide, the Verricht, was opened at Schlitterbahn Water Park. The Verricht has a 168-foot drop, which then shoots you up a rise on the slide and then descends another 50 feet into a pool. The combined speed of the 17-story drop and the water jets caused the ride to have a 400-pound weight requirement to keep it from going airborne. In 2016, 10-year-old Caleb Schwab was planning to ride the Verricht with his 12-year-old brother Nathan. Due to the weight requirements, the two were separated, and Nathan went first while his brother Caleb was seated with two older women. But witnesses reported that their weight did not meet the requirements. At some point after the 168-foot drop, Caleb was thrown from the ride and hit one of the metal rings supporting it at nearly 70 miles an hour. Reports say that the 10-year-old had a fatal neck injury and was decapitated, while his 12-year-old brother witnessed the incident and screamed hysterically. Days later, the park announced that the ride was closed and was scheduled for demolition.
This is why you should never go on a subway again. So what happened is that one night, a teenage girl was taking the subway home from work back to her house in New York. The scary part is when she went on board, she sat directly across from two men with a woman sitting in the middle. The creepy part is that the woman kept staring at her and wouldn't even blink, while the two men never once looked at her. Well, at the next stop, a man with a trench coat walked in, but the girl didn't pay much attention to
Blink twice if you need help.
him. The girl kept trying to look away so that one lady wouldn't stare at her, but she just kept looking, wouldn't even blink. Well, at the next stop, that random man with the trench coat pulled out the teenage girl and dragged her out of the subway. She was screaming, asking for help because she had no idea why this guy just pulled her out. But the guy told her to calm down and said he actually saved her life because the woman that was staring at her was actually dead, and the two men next to her were holding her up to make her look alive. The random guy with the trench coat said if he didn't pull her out, she was going to be their next victim.
So you're on a subway alone? Pull this off without, having eyewitnesses? Got so many questions on that story. Like, come on, bruh. Scary and creepy TikToks, man. That'll give you the chills, part 10. I've been doing this series for a while on the channel. I like the mixture and the multitude of stories thrown in. Comment down below if you have thoughts. It don't seem like people have too many recommendations on this channel. But though, that continue doing horror content. So yeah, peace, love, prosperity, God bless. We'll see y'all in the next video.